Hello and welcome to the Making It podcast. We are here for episode 36, and after 30 weeks, I've found a desk to sit at. So thank you for putting up with me sitting in my bed doing a podcast. We are here back, and Dan, it is great to have you here. We're both in our Forest shirts. It's like we planned it. I saw Dan. He came into the studio with his brand new Forest shirt on, and I'm like, I've got to join him. So jealous, Dan. How's your week been? But mate, how long you had that shirt for?
My dad got it me, so don't be too jealous because it's a fake one from China.
Hey, it looks mint.
But
I didn't know this.
I know it's good. You wouldn't be able to tell. But what was that?
No, I'm just saying I didn't know this.
Yeah, yeah. You couldn't tell that it's fake. It's a lovely shirt. But no, I've had a good week to be fair. Got quite a few things to talk about that I've learned this week. Had some good family time. Had some good productive time. Had some times where I realised maybe I'm doing a bit too much at times. So there's quite a few bits to talk about. It's currently 7:15 in the morning over here. So we've actually got a bit of a decent time where Jamie's not about to go to bed. Um,
Yeah.
Had to be parkrun after this podcast. So nah, this is the start of my day, and it's towards the middle of your afternoon, isn't it? So it's a new one for us on the podcast. But I just wanted to mention quickly before we get into things is just how like mental it is that you're out in Australia. And it wasn't until the other day when I do think it's not until the other day because I actually do think about this quite often. But when I'm sat in the pub with my mates Jago and Jude, and you chat with each other like, "Blimey, like it's actually going to be weird the next time we see you because it's like it's been so long. We're just used to you being out in Australia now." But how's your week been, brother?
That's scary, man. When you said it to me, it made me smile because it's been rough. It's been really tough, kind of like not being around my friends, especially the last month or so. Like I mentioned in the last podcast, a few things that I'll talk about at a later date, but, just things are starting to change a little bit now. I'm starting to feel a bit more myself, because I enjoy being here when I'm not in the house. Um, it's amazing going around the town, like seeing the places, like going to the beach, man. I'm enjoying it more. I've started to embrace just walking down the beach and just doing nothing for 10 minutes, just sitting there, watching the water, like just chilling out, having a bit of food. That coffee in the morning is way more fun because it's like, why do I do it? I do it because, I want to just relax and enjoy. And that's what this week's been. So I got rejected for a job at the start of the week after a job trial. And it was at the place where I always go and drink a coffee. So I was kind of hoping that I'd get something there because that is the ideal place for me because I know the place. But I didn't get it. And then I decided alongside Declan, who's coming out in 2 weeks yesterday, bro. So 1 week and 6 days now. I've decided that we're going to move to Sydney pretty early in 2.5 weeks. And we're just going to go for it. We've already got a flat viewing. We've got loads of stuff like ready, which is it's kind of mad to think that we're already planning that on such a whim. But it's been a big week for me, bro, to be honest. So I'm really glad to just be here and kind of just talk about the week, get a few other bits in as well, and just kind of just see how things are going.
Nice one, brother. Well, seeing them photos of you coaching is quite cool. I think you got some good little snapshots there. You could we could put some on the Making It Insta story to be fair. Um, but to be fair, a little thing actually, which I did yesterday, which it's a funny one, but I'm not wore a bike helmet in years. From when I was like 14, it's like, oh, I don't want to go out with a bike helmet because I'll look stupid with all my friends, and none of my friends wear a bike helmet. And my mum never really liked my mum's never liked the fact I don't wear a helmet. And like, I just thought to myself the other day, I actually saw Connor from work coming with his new bike and a helmet, and I was thinking to myself, why don't I wear a helmet? Like I'm
Mm.
20 years old now. Like I'm still in this bad habit of thinking I'm gonna look stupid wearing a bike helmet. So yesterday I went, I'm wearing my bike helmet and I'm going out and I'm gonna do the right thing. And it made me realize, like, are there bad habits we have which we don't even realize we have, which we just forget about because we get so used to having them? And that was one of them I have. So for the listener, just like reflect on something right now. Have you got a bad habit in your life, which you don't even realize is a bad habit because you got so used to that being your normal? That was one of mine, but I've sorted that out now because I think it's very important to wear a bike helmet, as you would expect. But something which I want to talk to you about a bit, brother, is the fact that especially over my last year of uni that I just had, and at the present moment, I definitely don't have the buzz for going out as much these days, and I still enjoy going out. I love having a few drinks with people. Like, I know for a fact as soon as you get back, like, we'll have a good
Yeah,
night
same
out.
man. You're missing the
Um,
life of party, bro.
um, and I still will have a good time every now and then. Like tonight, I'm going out for Leo's birthday for a bit, but I don't I don't have as much of a buzz for it. Like when I was 18 and it's like, oh, I just want to go out just for the sake of it and just go and have fun and, get really drunk and have a nice night. And now I don't have as much as that. And I know we spoke about it a bit before about how I was getting into this phase of a bit like I didn't go out at all really when I was at uni because it was like I'm trying to keep it professional with a football coach, and now I'm realised just go out when you feel like it. But I think naturally as well now, I just don't want to go out as much. But when I go out, I have a good time. And I was in my head a little bit about it, thinking like, have I hit that stage too early? Like, should I be going out more? And I think it hits the same sort of topic as what we've been speaking about, how just like riding the wave of how you feel. And if that's how I feel, then that's how it is. But what do you think about that? Like maybe, when you start to feel like you don't want to go out as much, but when you go out, it's more fun because you're actually going out for a reason.
I think that if you want to go out, you should just go out. Like you should just go out no matter how you feel. I feel like there's certain places you can't go when you get to a certain age. And I'm going to say Rock City. I
Yeah.
would. I think that I've grown out of the enjoyment of that because even though I've not been for a while, and I'll probably go one more time, I think that having been to a bar around here, I was like, oh my god, it's the same music over and over again. And then I realized I was like, I'm complaining about a bar having the same music over and over again, but I'm going there every Friday or Saturday night back home. I don't know. I feel like your taste buds, your desire for things changes. Like when you're a kid, you don't like Marmite, you don't like beer, you don't like wine. And then all of a sudden you turn 18 and you just love all this kind of stuff. Like it just kind of comes and it goes, like it's just a thing in life. And your preferences change. And your preferences change a lot on your environment because your environment is everything, right? Like when you spoke about the bike helmet, that's your environment, your people that you're around. And that's not to say that the people you're around are bad people and that they want you to get hurt by not wearing a bike helmet, but it's a herd mentality. This is what life has almost become. It's like a herd mentality. Like, people don't run for a bus or a train because ego tells them not to. Like there's this weird like thing of like running for a bus or a train is like makes you less of a person. Have you heard that? Is that something? Have you
No,
ever heard that?
I definitely recognise that. I don't do it myself. I don't mind running for a bus or
You
a
know,
train, but I
Cleo
know
at work.
some people.
I'm going to shout out Cleo at work, and I'm going to put her in a position by saying this, but it is what it is. So you know what an ick is, Dan? You're
Yeah, of
aware.
course, yeah.
For our listener, an ick is something that maybe someone doesn't like about someone that they'd like to have a relationship with. Well, Cleo said that her one was men who go into banks in person.
Mate, that's mental.
This is crazy, right? I mean, it's funny it's funny. So Cleo,
That
that
is
is funny.
ridiculous, though.
It's funny. It's ridiculous, right? But like, what I'm trying to say is that people just have these little things like that, and other people catch on to them, and it becomes like I don't know, like a thing that everyone has to do. And with the bike helmets more so. That was just a funny example, but the bike helmets one, you just it's so crazy to think that no matter how much we tell ourselves, I don't care what anyone else thinks, you'll get on your bike, and one of the first things you'll think in that helmet is like, what are they going to think about that? Oh no, I'll leave it at home. When in reality, like not wearing a helmet on a bike seriously increases your like risk of some sort of injury. It's mental. It is so mental that we live in a time where our personal safety is neglected for the sake of some person's opinion on a bike helmet. Why do you think that's happened, Dan? I'm keen to know from a psychology point of view. Is it phones? Is it just social media? Or is it the kind of the meme culture that's made this happen? I want to know what's caused this.
I think it's just stemmed from when I was a kid. I used to go out on my bike a lot, and none of us wore helmets. And I mean, quite a few of us had parents who would be like, "You should be wearing your helmet," and some people would literally bring their helmet out with them and put it in their bag while they're with their friends, and then put it back on when they got home. Like it just was a thing. Like none of us wore them because you just felt stupid wearing it, and you felt silly wearing it, and you looked a bit. And it wasn't even like a phones thing. It was just like going out with a helmet and just looking stupid. But when you look back on it, it's like it is a bit daft, really. But it was that sort of fear of like you don't want to get taken the mick out of. But it wasn't until I realised the other day, like I'm not 14 anymore. Like why do I still not wear it?
Yeah.
But I think it was just more like that judgment from other people. And when that culture of being a teenager is a bit like that though. It's like you kind of do anything to escape getting taken the mick out of. And I know the culture of our friendship group a bit growing up, it was a bit toxic in that sense. That toxic teenager, like anything you do, you can get taken the mick out for. It was. I'm glad we've all grown out of it, to be honest. Um,
Yeah.
but that's why. But I want to dive into what you mentioned in the pre-chat about everything happens for a reason. Now, I really want you to bring this up because it's a big thing on mine.
Well, I believe in it personally, and I to an extent live my life by it. I had a debate with someone today, interesting, who doesn't believe in it. They think it's the most Byron thing they've ever heard. Because people around here are a bit hippie. They are a little bit like that, you know. And everything that happens for a reason is usually an excuse for them smoking a lot of weed and doing nothing, and things just happening. Like I think that there's a sidestep and a context needed for this. But my argument for everything happens for a reason was, for example, me not getting a job that I wanted at the BBC when I was, last year, the year before, and because of that, it changed my perspective on careers. Do I need to jump into a full-time job now that determines my life? No. I said, do I need to go and explore the world and find myself? Yes. Grow. Yes. Become independent and become a real all-round human being. That's more important for me. And everyone's got different priorities, right? But I wanted to travel. I wanted to see the world. And this is my way of doing things. So in that respect, I do think everything happens for a reason. Their argument was they felt like everything happens for a reason was almost a kind of lazy way of looking at things and like kind of wishful thinking. Whereas I actually don't think it is like that. I actually think that everything happens for a reason is a product of anything. If you don't work hard, everything happens for a reason. If you do work hard, everything happens for a reason. But if you do work hard and something you didn't want to happens, it happens for a reason and it will fix itself. I just believe that in life, there's an equilibrium for everything. There's a balance for everything. And I truly believe that that life just finds its way of balancing out every single time.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, and I've always been a believer of it. Everything happens for a reason, and I think I'd assume the side who you were having a debate with when they say they believe that phrase is lazy is because I think there definitely is a way where people don't do anything with their life and they just kind of like expect things to happen, and it's like, oh, everything happens for a reason. Um, and you do it in psychology. It's called locus of control. If you have a high internal locus of control, it means that you take full responsibility for your life and what happens to it. If you have a high external locus of control, it means you believe that something else is controlling it and you kind of put it to luck or faith. Um, Now, I think I understand where the person you're having a debate with came from because there will be some people out there who don't work hard, like you say, and they just assume that everything's going to happen for a reason and something's going to take them somewhere and that it's all going to fall into place. Now, I believe everything happens for a reason because I feel like everything has a meaning, and I feel like it does help as well in certain times where maybe you face a rejection or things like you say have gone a way you didn't expect. Well, it does happen for a reason, like you not getting that job. I remember being on the phone to you when I was on the way into Scotland, and obviously I knew you were upset about you not getting the job, and obviously we spoke, and I'm pretty sure I actually said to you like, everything happens for a reason on that phone call.
Yeah,
I'm sure
yeah.
I'm
No,
100%
you
sure I
did.
said something
Sure.
similar. Yeah. And look at you now, mate. You're in Australia for a year, and this is something you'll never forget. So I think in that sense, everything happens for a reason. But I think it's about responsibility, and I think if you're taking responsibility for yourself and what you're doing in life, then I think you're full in a position to be able to be like everything happens for a reason. But the only thing I think there's a danger with that phrase is when people then don't take responsibility for what's happening in their life because you do have control over that. But I think it's very powerful because I think there are a lot of things. I mean, obviously, footballer for the context, Eberechi Eze, obviously just signed for Arsenal. But
Mm,
if you look at his story, he got, I'm pretty sure, I think it was Fulham. He got rejected by Fulham. Um, he definitely was in Arsenal's academy as well previously, and he didn't make it there. And then he ended up at QPR, and then he got to Crystal Palace, and now he's back at Arsenal. Same with Jed Spence. I think it was Fulham with him as well. He got rejected by Fulham. Obviously went to Middlesbrough, Forest, and then went to Spurs. They didn't want him for a few seasons. Now he's just got his call up to England. These things are part of our journey. And I think that's the idea of trusting the process and everything happened for a reason. Because if you are taking responsibility for your life and you're pushing yourself in the direction you want to, these fallbacks and these setbacks do happen for a reason because they will lead to the place where you're supposed to be. They'll lead to your path, as we always speak about. So I really like the phrase but I understand there's a danger to it as well. But I think I think I understand both sides and I understand why there was a debate about it. But I think if you are taking responsibility, then everything does happen for a reason.
and the reason that the conversation came about was my move to Sydney, and obviously I'm leaving Gold Coast United as well, which is a shame because I love being there so much. It is the best thing, and there's been some tougher times, there's been some not great times, but I do love it. And shout out to Matt because I know that Matt does listen. Um, and I would hope that he enjoys our episodes. Um, and I'm grateful to him for kind of bringing me through, and Mikey and everyone I know at the club. But kind of everything does happen for a reason, you know. Maybe things will go well in Sydney and I'll find somewhere there, or maybe things won't go well in Sydney and I'll come back, or maybe I'll just go home. Like I don't know, but the whole point is that yeah, everything happens for a reason. It's a way of having responsibility but having no expectation. It's something I've tried to have more. No expectation. It's like Anthony Bourdain with his show is called No Reservations, and it serves the same purpose. He walks into a restaurant without the expectation of having somewhere to sit, what to eat, what to drink, who to speak to, what customer service he's going to get. The whole point is experience and exploring. And that is what the curious mind needs, in my opinion. I'm a person with a curious mind. You are. We all are for different things. And I suppose my curiosity comes from traveling and seeing things like this. And do you know what? I'll be honest with you, Dan. I'm curious about the challenge of moving somewhere that's difficult to move to. See, like I could move somewhere around here for not around Byron, but somewhere just up from Byron for cheaper. But Sydney interests me. It's a big city. There's a lot going on. And to be honest, bro, I just want the side quest. I just really want a massive side quest. Like that night we went out and you're climbing the bins and doing all that crazy stuff, and like days where you go on big walks, stuff like that. I kind of want just a place that has a bit of the beach, places you can walk like national parks, a city, waterfalls. It's got everything in one place. That to me is what I would like to experience. Doesn't mean I want to live there forever, doesn't mean anything, but I want to see it. And in my opinion, the only way to form an opinion and to itch that scratch of curiosity in your head is just to go and do it.
Hey, I'm buzzing for you. I'm really excited to know how it goes down when you're in Sydney, and it's going to be very interesting to hear the stories on the podcast. But what you said about no expectations, I think, is massive because I think that is a big. I think having expectations leads to a lot of problems because it leads to a lot of times where you feel like you've been let down because you expected something. And now, don't get me wrong, at times you do expect certain things from people because that's just how they are. Like if all of a sudden, like I just started being really horrible to you, you'd be like, "What's going on?" Because you expect me not to be like that. But in terms of having expectations for things like going on a night out and you expect it to be the best night out you've ever been on, or going to your football team's game and you expect to win, or like you say, like going to Australia and you expect it to be great from the minute you get there. Like all these expectations, they can often let us down because you can't expect things in life. Life is very unpredictable. And I think it's important. I always say to myself to have standards, not expectations, because if you expect things from people, from life just to happen, then you are going to get let down a lot and you're often going to feel quite upset. But if you stick to certain standards and your values and your principles through all of it, then what will happen will happen. And like we say, it will happen for a reason. And I also think about kindness as well. And I think a lot of people are kind because they expect something back, but I think you've got to be kind without the expectation of receiving something back. And it's funny because this week, obviously, Grimsby beat Man United, and Man United obviously went to Grimsby expecting to win, and they lost, which was good because I was with my cousin and my brother, and my dad's from Grimsby, so we had a bit of a celebration. But it's these things where you can't expect things to happen because life is so unpredictable. And that is where I think everything happens for a reason is great as well, because these things that we don't predict, it's like, okay, that's happened for a reason. Is there anything else outside of not getting a job at the BBC and going to Australia, which is like an everything happens for a reason story from yourself?
Phew. I had a fallout with my dad. I remember last year. That would probably be a big. Everything happens for a reason, because while I think it was one of the worst times of my life, definitely falling out with my dad. I would like to think that there's a lot of people that are lucky enough to have a mum and dad that are together, and don't have to go through that situation. So I'm happy for them. I'm
Stop right there. This is Daniel talking here, and I know right now you're enjoying the episode, but I've just got to give a really big shout out to something, and it's Making It Moments. That's where our guests are. That's where the people we bring on to talk about their journeys are. Go and listen to Making It Moments. Go find them on our Spotify and YouTube. Find clips on our socials. Making It Poddy. Making It Moments.
buzzing for them. But there's a lot of people that don't have that. And I am one of them. And when me and my dad fell out, it was bad. It lasted a few months. But one night I was in Greece and I said to him, I'm coming back on Saturday. Let's go for a walk on Sunday. And my whole point was, if we don't talk again after this, I'm fine. But at least I've itched that scratch in my mind of what does he want to say. We had a walk, went really well, and we've spoken ever since. Now, it's quite personal, but I suppose, but my dad and my sister haven't spoken for quite a while, a good couple of years. And I would say that as a result of me and my dad falling out and my dad kind of understanding how we operate now as adults, because we're not kids anymore, me and my sister's 25, I'm 20. God, that feels weird to say. Feels weird, doesn't it? I'm like 19, I'm not. Because of us falling out, I actually think that it made our bond stronger. It's almost like that thing of fighters when they're kicking a pole and they keep breaking parts of their shin bone to strengthen it and condition it. That's almost what that argument was. That was a way of conditioning and strengthening our relationship in a very unconventional and hopefully not a way that we'd ever want to do it again. But now my dad and my sister talk again. My dad sees his grandkids. My family is a lot happier and my heart is a lot more healthy because of it, I think. Because, we all have those things, those ideals in life where we go, it would really make my day if this could happen. Just for the sake of us all being together again. That's why I want it. And to think that my family has that. And I do believe that that moment with my dad was a knock-on effect. And it changed his mentality towards us. And I've got absolutely no shame in saying that I think my dad is a much better person. Now we've had that argument and we've been open with each other and spoken actually like me and you speak, Dan, which I never thought I'd achieve. So it is one of the most amazing things for me, despite it being bad. So yeah, I would say that is on a personal note the best.
Well, brother, I'm glad I'm glad things are in a good position with those relationships, and I'm glad, as much as it was tough, and I know it was, because I was thinking about it actually, because it was a year ago when you called me when I was camping. So when I was camping, I did think about that, and it's nice to know a year on that things are even better than you probably imagined, with your sister obviously talking to your dad again now. And I think with friends as well. I think with relationships, like, at least to what we're talking about, I think we you can't have an expectation that with your friendships, things are always going to be plain sailing. One day me and you, we really don't. I think if we've ever had a slight debate, it's been over a blooming podcast getting out.
Always.
Like,
That's always.
it's never really been like a bad thing. Like, but if me and you ever had like a fallout, like, I would like to think like that would happen for a reason and would become better for it. I mean, I can't imagine, but I don't have an expectation that that's
Oh,
never going to happen. Go on, Em.
yeah, go on.
But I've had friends where I've not spoken to them really or been close to them for a year, and now I'm back being best mates with them. And I think sometimes these things happen and they happen for a reason, but you don't have an expectation that they're never going to happen. Um, And I think the biggest one for me, and I've said it on the podcast before, was when I didn't get into Newcastle, but I got into Northumbria. Now that was a massive one for me because it's led to this football coaching opportunity and it's led to the people I've met. And I think that goes for anything. I think especially with it being results for people in the past few weeks just gone, and if you didn't get the grades, you didn't get, like, your life isn't. We can't attach our life to external things like grades and results from things, because as long as you put your all into them, where you end up has happened for a reason. Um, but Jamie, coming towards the end of the podcast, is there anything else you'd like to mention?
Big shout out to my under 10s team, winning 6-0 today. Let's go.
Really? Didn't even tell
Really.
me that. Good news.
6-0. Yeah, it was a different team today, so it was a bit of a better team, personnel wise, but really good game. It was really fun. It was actually quite exciting because you don't expect 10-year-olds to know a hell of a lot about football. We had this one right winger, and I was thinking, what do I do in this situation? I really want to give this, because it's all about game time. Every game they play at that age is a friendly. There's no league out here. And I thought, this kid's doing so well on the right wing. Like, I can't move him over to the left. And I thought, I'm going to give the other kid game time on the right, put him on the left. And he straight away came up to me and he went, if I play on the left, am I cutting inside and shooting? And I was like, yes. He knows before we've even said it. Just little things, I don't know. Maybe that makes me a bit sad because it's all I think about football-wise. But yeah, I don't know. It just felt good. I've got another 2 weeks, 2 more match weeks at Gold Coast, and then I'm done. So we've got one more normal week, and then after that, we've got the semi-finals and the finals. Because in this country, if you win the league, you don't win the entire competition. You win what they call the Premier, and then you're into the semi-finals and the cup finals. So this is why you will always be worse at football than the English in all of Europe. Just saying, because of that silly, silly rule. It is so ridiculous. Anything you want to chime off on though, Dan? Anything that you're thinking about?
I would say at the start of the week, I burnt myself out a little bit. Did a half marathon and then went to work in the same day. And I think that's something I told myself I wasn't going to do, but I still blooming did it. So just learning that you can still do too much and just taking it slow at times, because there are definitely areas of my life where I need to be a bit more laid back. But also that idea of, like, just for the listener, anyone listening right now, like, you never know what someone can be going through. So go and put your arm around someone's shoulder today. Give someone a smile, make an impact on someone's day, because you never know what can be happening. But yeah, it's been a good episode again, Jamie. I feel like these. I remember someone saying to me once, "How do you come up with topics every week and talk about things for half an hour?" And it's just amazing how these topics just flow every week. It's like everything happens for a reason. I'm surprised we never spoke about that before, but it's been a pleasure, Jamie, because I love the fact we have this podcast to be able to speak naturally for half an hour each week, because I miss you, brother, and I hope that Australia's keep feeding you the fruits of life.
Brother, I love you, man. And I just want to say as well, if we could do longer than half an hour, but you guys on average have a concentration span that lasts about 24 minutes, according to our statistics. So, yeah, if you want to bump up those numbers for us, we'll make the episodes longer. But no, seriously, thank you, Dan. It's been a pleasure joining you, mate. I'm so excited to have a coffee with you again. But before I have a coffee with you, my new Forest shirt, 2 new Forest shirts land in 2 weeks. So I'm looking forward to that. Oh, and also my mate's coming as well. Something about that. So sorry, Deck. But yeah, have a great week, guys. That was episode 36 of the Making It podcast. Can you believe it's been 36 weeks? See you next Tuesday at 10.
Take care, everybody.
Right all night. Feel so right.